Hi, I'm Andrew, and in this week's video, I'll be reviewing the brand new Novritsch SSR9 DSG. Something anyone interested in competitive CQB really should take a look at. Now, the first thing you'll notice when picking up the SSR9 is that this looks and feels awfully similar to the classic Army Nemesis that I reviewed last year. And that's probably because it is. But don't take my word for it. Joseph at the Airsoft Explained by Novritsch channel talks about how the company openly uses existing designs and improves on them to deliver the quality performance that their guns are known for. It's honestly a surprisingly honest and informative video about the entire Airsoft product development process, and I do recommend you watch it if you're interested in that sort of stuff. But let's get back to the gun itself. Externally, the SSR9 DSG is an AR pattern pistol caliber carbine made of full metal and is rock solid to the touch. Being an AR pattern means it has all the typical ergonomics of the type, though being an AEG, certain functions like the forward assist or the dust cover are really cosmetic only. Markings are your typical Novritsch affair, with the logos on the side and the buttstock over here, as this isn't meant to be a replica of any real weapon. So let's start at the front. The muzzle features a rather unusual slanted compensator with the Novritsch spiral that is clearly only for aesthetic purposes. As if this was a real gun, this comp would direct the muzzle blast down and massively increase muzzle rise up. Hardly ideal. This comp is connected to the outer barrel with a 40mm counterclockwise thread, allowing you to attach any accessories you may want later on. Behind the muzzle is a short profile M-LOK handguard featuring two M-LOK slots in the 3, 6, 9 and 12 o'clock positions, and all in between for unprecedented accessory carrying. On top is only rail space for front sight, but none on the rest of the handguard, until the rail on the receiver, likely to save weight. Speaking of sights, there are none. As is typical of the Novritsch SSR series, they come without sights, reasoning that you'll likely put your own fancy optics on it anyway. Now over to the rear, and we have an extendable PDW style stock that can only be extended to one position. It's nothing really special, but the real value of the stock is in the buffer tube. Pull this lever to remove the cover to reveal a battery space that can fit most smaller 11.1 type LiPo batteries. However, unlike the Nemesis, this SSR9 uses Dean's connectors, which is arguably one of the most significant upgrades in this whole gun. The hop-up can be accessed by pulling the charging handle and then holding it. From there, you can adjust the rotary hop-up to the setting you prefer. One thing I like about this one is that each of the hop increments over here are numbered, which means that if you memorize the ideal setting for each BB weight, you could quickly adjust to the ideal number if you need to switch different BBs without having to expend any pellets zeroing, which is not the most important thing, but is marginally useful nevertheless. Now go down a bit and you have a non-ambidextrous standard AR pattern fire selector going from safe, semi, and fun mode. There's also a non-ambidextrous button-style lever magazine release, but it's easily reachable with the index finger. The trigger though is a skeletonized AEG blade style trigger. There's no breakpoint, but it's perfectly functional for what it needs to do because it has almost no play. And now for the internals, which is where things get interesting. The Novritsch SSR9 DSG features a quick change spring and an ETU which allows you to program binary and burst shooting modes. It also has active braking and full cycle control amongst others. Pretty standard stuff for an ETU. But the real fun is the gun's namesake, the DSG. For those who don't know, the DSG stands for Dual Sector Gear. To explain it as simply as possible, the sector gear inside a typical AEG has only one set of tooth edges, like this one, to pull back the gun's piston before releasing it on the flat bit to fire the BB. One revolution, one shot. A dual sector gear, however, instead has two sets of teeth, allowing for the gun to fire 2 shots per gear revolution, effectively doubling the AEG's rate of fire. This does, however, come at the cost of the gun's power, as the gear can only now pull the piston half the distance, providing only half the air compression before releasing to fire. What does this mean? It means that a Novritsch SSR9 DSG using 11.1 volt battery can fire an astonishing 36 rounds per second on full auto, with near instantaneous trigger response on semi. For a commercially available stock airsoft gun, that's pretty insane. Now, I know some of you experienced viewers might say 32 rounds per second is actually quite a low rate of fire compared to some of your custom 60 plus RPS monster builds.
That's not cool.
This is. That's a lot of.
Damn, bro. Okay.
And while that may be true, it's important to note that as a commercially available mass market product, Novritsch is kind of obliged to make the SSR9 DSG as reliable as possible for players who might not be able to effect their own repairs. Hence why the SSR9 uses a high torque motor instead of a high speed motor, which will place far less strain on the gun's internal components and increase the reliability. Either way, this results in an excellent CQB weapon with an insane rate of fire that will also keep on working no matter what. Now, price-wise though, at just $300 US, the Novritsch SSR9 DSG costs basically the same as the classic Army Nemesis it resembles, which is an insane amount of value considering how many extra features this adds on top of that base model. Like, where else would you have a gun with so many upgrades, yet sells for the exact same price as the original? It basically removes any reason to also get the Nemesis in the first place. There's some really crazy economics going on at Novritsch, but that's way above my pay grade, and I'm all for it, frankly. And finally, the SSR9 comes with a 120 round extended Glock style mid-cap AEG magazine that should be compatible with most Glock mag holders. So the Novritsch SSR9 DSG is shaping up to be an absolute beast of an AEG SMG. But how does it actually shoot? Let's head to the range and find out. And now for the Chrono. As usual, we're using 0.2 gram BBs. And here we are at X zone this time, around about the 30, about more 25 meter range because we don't have a formal one, to go and test out the SSR9 DSG. So without further ado, let's just get right to it. So, range is hot. Let's fire. Well, I wasn't kidding about the snappiness of this because wow. Well, like I said earlier on, it's really snappy. Shoots really fast, and from what I can see over here, very precise. Only downside is that as the muzzle velocity is a little lower, there is a bit of a BB travel, but the nice hop up over here that is all numbered functions really well. Those rounds are going straight and they're going quickly according to trigger response. So I really do like that. Ergonomically, I mean, it's an AR style platform, so it has all the functionality you'd expect, aside from the fact that it's not ergonomic. So if you're a lefty, do keep that in mind. Aside from that though, yeah, it's really nice, feels great. Obviously it's metal, handguard as well. The lack of a rail at the front means that if you C-clamp it, it actually feels quite comfortable, because often with many monolithic rails, you go and C-clamp it, it has that hard edge that's not nice. So really do like that. Aside from that though, yeah, it's very comfortable, easy to use, an absolute excellent starter gun. In fact, this might actually be the best starter gun for somebody new to airsoft to go off of, because it's got an incredible rate of fire and everything is just really sort of pre-upgraded and refined out of the box. That's the one thing that Novritsch seems to have, Novritsch products have. They don't have any realism because, what gun is this? But there's that refinement. There's that somebody took the design and just made it as good as it should be. And that's one thing I quite like about it. But yeah, it's great. Without me saying any more, why don't we just check out and see how well I did. Come on. And here we go. All right, let's take a look. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I think the bottom one would be round about a flyer. And you generally have an even spread. So yeah, let's just pop that. Honestly, that's pretty good. It's not the most accurate gun we've ever reviewed, but it's also not the worst. You know, it's round about the middle, perfectly suitable for CQB. You know, you're not going to break any records, but it's quite an even spread. You know, there's no sort of like all rounds going up or all rounds going down. Required minimal hop-up adjust in the beginning, and frankly, I have nothing to complain about it. It really is an absolute gem of a starter gun when you're just getting out an airsoft. Obviously, I had to source my own red dot and then zero that in, but aside from that, you know, you really don't need anything else to go and get started. So overall, very, very impressed. You know, it does exactly what you need to do, like the original gun that this was modeled after, but it does it better. And what more could you want, especially because it costs the same? So yeah, you know what, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, quite like it. So without further ado, oh wait, but hold on a second. You know, after all, this is a DSG. It fires double the rate of fire as its single sector counterpart. So the fun is in full auto. Oh man, oh wow, that is fun. And it also has a practical application, you know, even in outdoor games when this is not ideally suited, this sort of rate of fire will suppress your opponents by an immense amount. Nobody wants to be at the receiving end of this. However, if they are, the power is lower enough so that they won't get too hurt by it. So that's always a plus. So, with that said and done, let's head back to the studio. And we're back. As you saw, the Novritsch SSR9 DSG has an insane level of performance, ergonomics, and functionality, all for a surprisingly affordable price. Shooting-wise, it lives up to its DSG namesake with a ridiculous rate of fire and one of the snappiest stock trigger responses in the industry, yet has good accuracy, though a lower power due to its dual sector gear. It's easy to use and perfect for close quarters, all at a very affordable price for fully upgraded metal AEG. If you're a new player looking for this first gun, or a speed softer who just wants to start slaying noobs, this really is the perfect gun for you. Overall, we give the Novritsch SSR9 DSG 4.5 stars out of 5. It really is the ultimate CQB monster to start dishing out immediately once you get it. So, as usual, let's hand over to you guys. What are your thoughts on the Novritsch SSR9 DSG? Let us know in the comments section below. And for these cool products and many more, visit us at www.redwolfairsoft.com. This is Andrew, out.